are we real? Is everything we see the truth, the reality? Is everything we see really what it is? Let's go into that. What if everything we see and we do on Earth is just a dream? What if everything on Earth is not the reality? What if we just dream it? We actually dream every night, at least most of us do, so we know how it looks like. We can do fabulous things, exciting things, but what if reality, or at least what we call reality, was in fact just a dream? As we don't know for sure that everything we see is real. We see buildings and we see water and we see huge things happening, but we don't know that they actually exist. We can't tell for sure. Maybe everything is just, in fact, a big dream. And another way to think about it is if you think about when you use drugs. Maybe you did that, maybe you've not, but if you use drugs like weed, you can go into a situation where you might see the grass being blue or feelings being much stronger than they usually are. And to an outsider, that may look like not real, being not real, not the current reality. But for you, as an insider in that trip, it does all look very real. And it does all look like the reality, like how the world is looking today, looking now. So what if that's true for the entire world now where we're living in? What if for us, everything we do and we see is real, but for an outsider, let's for example take a god or higher creature, the great observer or something, that may see that everything we see, or what we describe we see, is not real, it's not actually the truth. As how actually can we tell that this paper is white and flat and squared? How can we? We do not for sure. And that's something interesting to talk about and to think about. How do we know that everything we do is reality? And for a lot of centuries, philosophers have thought about this subject. But how can we tell that everything we see and we do is real? And it came with a lot of interesting subjects and interesting theories. And to start with, how do we know that we actually exist? Because of all things, I think that's the most important, that we know that we exist and that we are real. And in what form we are real, well, that's just that doesn't matter. But that we, our minds, our possibly our soul, if you would like to call it, is real. And the philosopher Descartes came up with an interesting sentence that describes that all. The sentence being cogito ergo sum, or translated in English, I think and therefore I am. And actually, just because we think, and we can think about this subject or random other subjects, we know that we ourselves do exist. But we cannot tell that of anything else. And I actually, to be honest, cannot tell that you exist. I only know that I exist. And if you exist, then you probably know that you exist. But you cannot tell that I exist. Maybe I don't exist. You don't know. So we do know that we exist. But do we know that anything else exists? And the way I would like to think about it is that something exists. That not everything we see is part of our own imagination. That there is some sort of reality. But that everyone sees that reality differently. Everyone sees the world his own way. You can see that, of course, as an example, with color blindness, where people see colors differently. And I think that everyone sees colors differently and sees the world differently. So it can be interesting to consider that differences in opinions can not only be based that people think on a different way, but also because people actually see the world differently. People actually experience the world in a different way than other people. So to conclude on the question, are we real? Well, yes, we are real. We know that we exist and that we are real. But we cannot simply conclude that of anything else. And there might exist something, but actually it all might also be just a part of our imagination, of our spirit that creates a world that seems logical to us. I hope you've liked this video. If you've got an interesting opinion about this subject, please leave it below. And also, if you got an interesting suggestion for a new subject that I should talk about, also please leave it below, or send me a personal message. And if you liked this video, and would like to see other videos, please consider subscribing above. I will regularly upload a new video. I've also added the links to 2 other videos of mine in the underbar below. A video about totalitarianism and a video about development aid that I should, well, recommend you watching it. So please check out the links below. So unless your personal spaceship has been sucked into the 4th dimension, leading to the destruction of the entire universe, I would like to see you next time. Good night.